No, it's funny because it was a concept I heard from this minister, and what he would say, he would kind of ask his online community whenever he was doing his Wednesday night, his huddle. He called it Thrive, though. And so he would ask, like, there's three ways that we could be living the kingdom life, you know. You could be sinking, surviving, or thriving.
Okay.
And so when I
It's
heard
very
that,
similar concept.
yes, I heard it, and I love that concept. But so kind of like breaking out that concept of like asking yourself, like, am I drowning? And that's kind of self-explanatory. It's like I feel like I'm inside deep waters. Water may be hitting over my head. I'm overwhelmed. I'm in a state of active danger. You know, no one likes, if you've ever been I remember learning how to swim and being in a pool and feeling like I'm drowning. And I remember like the instructor was trying to like calm me down, like just stand up. Like you're
not in active danger.
Yeah, you're not in active danger, but your mind has told you you're in active danger.
Which
so
can put you in active danger.
yeah, you panic,
yeah.
right? And so sometimes we feel like we're in a drowning state, and we may not necessarily be drowning, but it feels like it.
Yeah.
And so it's not what you go through, it's how you feel about it. And so like that's a drowning situation. Then you have dripping, which I have found myself in lately is like, okay, I'm out of the water, so I'm no longer in active danger, but I'm still wet. There's still the residue of my experience very much evident all over me. In fact, if you come by and you touch my arm or touch my clothes, you still see like you just came out of a trauma experience.
Yeah.
And so if you don't find yourself to a place of like, usually like, you're rescuing somebody out of the water, what the first thing they do, they put the blanket or the towel around you to try to dry you off, trying to get you to a different state. Because if you're in that wet state too long, that's how hypothermia sets in.
That
If you
drift.
are feeling like these things are happening inside my life,
Yeah.
do a self-evaluation of
Yeah.
like where you
Yeah.
went left and God wasn't the one that left you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Hello, hello.
Howdy, howdy. Welcome back to
Happy
The
Huddle.
Happy Huddle.
Happy huddle?
The Happy Huddle. We are happy to be here.
She just changed the name of the
All right. Happy Huddle, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday.
That's great.
Share it out. Use the hashtag the
Yeah.
huddle. Let everybody know what's going on.
The hashtag happy huddle.
Happy Huddle.
You're confusing them legit.
Sorry, the
I feel
huddle.
very outnumbered here. Yes.
Yes,
Share it.
you are.
Share out the huddle. That's how we invite people to Wednesday night church. Invite them to the Happy Huddle.
Right. Right. I really want to get our church where we're probably going to need to put it on more platforms in order to do this, but I want to get our church where everybody hears the huddle because I think it's important for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
By the way, the clock hasn't started, which I love, but
May, can you rescue us?
our producers are
That's great.
saving our hides. So there you go.
There it
Now we can pretend we care.
Hey,
Oh,
you
my
said don't worry about the clock.
Exactly.
We've been preaching that on Sundays.
Now we're going to practice it. We're kidding. The huddle is short.
Yes.
Talk to us about after the huddle.
After the huddle, though, we do have classes planned. Marriage and family class, which I've just heard Pastor Jay is teaching on that
Nice.
tonight.
Oh.
And so happy marriage and
He
family.
goes, that's
tonight."
news to me.
He just agreed to it like 10 minutes ago, and he's like, "That's tonight."
Wait a
that-
minute.
Now
Now
we'll
we gonna
see
have
if
a good
Aslan
time.
agreed to join him or
No,
not.
she didn't. He specifically said, "I don't know."
Yeah, right. So,
Oh my goodness. But
Bro,
yeah,
that's funny. You're out there, oh, easy peasy, bro. I got it. That's tonight.
however, right.
so we do have marriage and family class
Pardon me,
tonight.
folks.
There will not be a prayer class. That isn't happening, a little month off, but that'll be back in full swing next third Wednesday.
Yes.
So,
Don't stop praying though.
family, don't stop praying. And if you normally go to prayer, check out the marriage and family. See what it's all about. And if you're not married or don't have a family, check it out and then think, who do I know that this
Right.
could benefit? Who should I be sending this way? Or
Yeah.
And I love it because the principles
Yeah.
that Pastor Randon and Toya
Yeah.
have been sharing, like, it's not just pigeonholed to someone in a marriage
true.
or somebody who is parenting. You know, these are great principles you can use in your everyday life to be a better person.
True.
Yeah.
You know, so it's definitely good to see that community starting to build and that momentum continuing
Absolutely.
to flow through. So yeah,
And I love what they're doing with all the events and all that stuff too. Because like even with my situation, you know, with Lauren and myself, it's like we're entering into that phase, but at the same time,
announcement.
not yet.
Y'all heard it here first.
I mean, you know, it's heading
That's the
heading that
team.
direction. But it's really cool. I think some churches just like target it, like you said, to it's only married
Yeah.
couples or
Yeah.
only families and stuff. And it's like, but if you're going in that direction, you need to be surrounded by people who have already lived
Yeah.
a few years down the road and can impart wisdom into you, and
That's
also
right.
just get together and have fun.
Yeah.
I love it
The
how you've been
bowling night was
intentional.
fun.
That was
was
really fun.
Yeah.
Well, it's
bowling.
We learned that we have a bowler in the house. Well, two.
Yeah, couple
Actually,
bowlers. These guys.
Who won between you two?
I think he had a higher score.
Higher score. But
so
not
who's
as good
keeping
of
track?
form,
I
or
mean-
what?
Aslan just said individually. She was like, "You were up there." I was like, "Okay, all right."
So,
The bowling night was a lot of fun.
yeah, but that you guys are kind of speaking to an issue. I also experience this with the young adults. It's kind of ageist and exclusionary, but I just kind of hang around. I benefit a lot because
He just doesn't want to stay home and babysit, so he's like, "We're going to the young adults tonight."
I don't
Okay.
like being told I'm middle aged and not allowed in the room with the kids anymore.
It makes me laugh every time he says something like that in the service, and then I see Pastor Brooke over there, and she's like, "Well," she's like, "I'm still in the age group, but you might not be. I'm still in the age group." technically."
She's gonna get hers because when she turns 40, that's all gonna come
You're
back
gonna
to
be
her.
44 then, so
Yeah.
then I'll be.
yeah.
Welcome to the
Oh my goodness.
new age.
Speaking of young adults,
I'm gonna get our feed shut.
it kind of touches on what we're talking about tonight.
It does.
It does,
Help us out,
because
Pastor Brooke.
all of this conversation that we are talking about centers around your brilliant idea. I don't know where you got it from.
Yeah,
but of how you kick off your young adults.
Can I just
class.
say something?
Yeah.
That phrase that she just said to you, my help me, my good thing,
Oh gosh.
she has never said that to me. Not one time
wow.
in our marriage.
He goes,
Not
"Wow."
not one time. She has never said
did
to
I
me,
say?
this all centers around your brilliant idea. Not once.
That is not true. I say that stuff
Oh wow.
sometimes.
Just behind my back or what?
She said sometime. No, it's funny because it was a concept I heard from this minister, and what he would say, he would kind of ask his online community whenever he was doing his Wednesday night, his huddle. He called it Thrive, though. And so he would ask, like, there's 3 ways that we could be living the kingdom life, you know. You could be sinking, surviving, or thriving.
Okay.
And so when I heard
Very
that,
similar concept.
Yes, I heard it, and I love that concept. But the pastor, you know me, I'm all about alliteration as much as I
That's what I
possibly
love.
can.
Besides which, it goes so deep in the DNA of this house to refuse to just carbon copy. There's always got to be the like little flavor or spin.
Right, and so I was like,
Bishop
That's
always
true.
wanted something that made it.
I didn't want it to just like clone that. I said I
Yeah.
wanted it to
Yeah.
kind of remix it, make it my own.
Yeah.
And so I started asking myself the question, and then I started asking the young adults whenever we would meet. I'm like, let's take an inventory of our souls, and figure out what stage we're in. Are you drowning? Are you dripping? Or are you dry? And the best part about that is that you don't have to stay in any stage forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, ideally, we want to be in the dry stage, but I think it's naive of us to think that we'll always be in a dry season of our life where nothing
True.
is happening and we're not submerged in life's issues. And so we got to prepare ourselves accordingly. And so
Right.
It's kind of funny that you
question,
call it a dry season because
we look at that
you
as
almost
like
could look at it that way. Like you get
That's-
too much
yeah.
prosperity, too much ease, too
Yeah.
much,
You
everything's
get dry.
good. Pretty soon that is going to be dry.
Yep. So kind of like breaking out that concept of like asking yourself, like, am I drowning? And that's kind of self-explanatory. It's like, I feel like I'm inside deep waters. Water may be hitting over my head. I'm overwhelmed. I'm in a state of active danger. No one likes, if you've ever been I remember learning how to swim and being in a pool and feeling like I'm drowning. And I remember like the instructor was trying to like calm me down, like just stand up. Like you're
You're not in active danger.
Yeah, you're not in active danger, but your mind has told you you're in active danger.
Which
so
can put you in active danger.
yeah, you
because
panic,
yeah.
right? And so sometimes we feel like we're in a drowning state, and we may not necessarily be drowning, but it feels like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's not what you go through, it's how you feel about it.
I don't know if this is still a thing, but what you just said, it's not what you go through, it's how you feel about it. I think this is still a thing, but it at least used to be that when you were taking lifeguard training, they would teach you when you're doing deep water rescue. I had to jump out of a boat one time when I couldn't swim in the middle of a lake and rescue a young lady. There was a miracle because I couldn't swim. I don't know
Wow.
exactly how that
Wow.
happened, but I guess I probably swam. You probably
Yeah.
swim when it's like that moment.
Survival.
But I jumped out of the boat and I got her and I dragged her back. But I just remember freaking out as we started to head back because she was pretty panicked, and it was like submerging me. I kept getting submerged by her, and then I was like, hey, I don't really know how to swim. Like you gotta chill, and she did, but then because that experience was so scary, the guy whose boat we had said, well, that's part of lifeguard training, right? When you go out for deep water rescue, they teach you that if you can't get your I don't know what you'd call them. You're like the victim.
Yeah.
If you can't get them to stop freaking out and struggling, there's a way to punch them in the jaw
You
and
knock
knock
'em
them
out.
out.
No, you knock them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes
That's
sense.
true,
though.
right?
That's absolutely true. Because if you're being rescued and you're actively working against the rescue,
You're both gonna.
Yeah.
You're both. Gonna be in
Everybody's
trouble.
going down.
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
take it spiritually.
I mean,
Yeah.
bro, that
when
dog
you're
will
when you're in
hunt.
that place, sometimes I mean, like God's gonna have to like really knock you down, knock you out,
100%.
because you're actively fighting against
Wow.
What he's trying to do.
what He's trying to do. And so it's like,
Yeah.
what's the scripture? He says, He maketh me lie down
Yeah.
in green pastures. Like the good shepherd is recognizing, like, hey, you need to relax,
Yeah.
Right.
and I'm not gonna let you fight this, so long that you're gonna endanger the other sheep.
Right.
That's good.
That's what a good shepherd does. Like,
That's
if the sheep is wandering off, I mean, it's a terrible practice, but I mean, they break their legs,
Let's call
Yeah.
that a cast sheep. Yeah.
and they drape it around their neck, and they're carrying the sheep, and it's bringing a level of unity and
Yeah.
intimacy with the shepherd,
Yeah.
but
But
they
it
don't
isn't
feel good to the
comfortable.
sheep.
Yeah.
No. It
That's
does
right.
build trust. It does build relationship. It does, in the end, tend to your good, but it's not a nice situation.
No. And so, like, that's a drowning situation. Then you have dripping, which I have found myself in lately. Is like, okay, I am out of the water, so I'm no longer in active danger, but I'm still wet. There's still the residue of my experience very much evident all over me. In fact, if you come by and you touch my arm or touch my clothes, you still see like you just came out of a trauma experience.
Yeah.
And so if you don't find yourself to a place of like, usually like, you're rescuing somebody out of the water, what they first thing they do, they put the blanket or the the towel around you to try to dry you off, trying to get you to a different state. Because if you're in that wet state too long, that's how hypothermia sets in. And I mean, you take the analogy,
could die on the shore.
bunch of different places, right?
I immediately thought about, like how dogs kind of freak out, right? And you have these vests that you put on them. It's the weight that comforts them, gets them to stop shaking,
Like
hurting
swaddling a baby.
themselves.
Slaughtering the baby.
Yeah, you literally put that around them and just calm them down.
Right.
Good.
Like, so it's the same concept. It's like you said, you can just take it a ton of different.
I mean, genuinely, boundaries are comforting.
Yeah.
You may not love them, but they feel safe. Kids become miserable when you never give them boundaries. Brendan asked me about that. Why do you just randomly say no a lot when we ask? That's how he views it. Which I remember that. I remember viewing it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And God sometimes feels that way too. Like, what was even the point of that?
Yeah.
Like, I told him on the way to church today, I'm going to be upset and have a talk with him if nobody that pays a tithe wins that $999 million on that. I said, if you don't move on somebody to sin and buy that ticket and come repent with their tithe, I'm going to be so upset with you on Monday.
I always say, like, I just hope it's a family member that wins that I'm real close to, and then they just. It's like,
Share
all
that.
right, yeah. I think we can work around that a little bit.
I'm like, look, Lord, there's the solution to all your problems.
We
All
drive
your
by
problems.
that billboard every Sunday. We drive by that billboard.
Drives me
and,
crazy.
Oh my Lord.
Every Sunday I go,
It's
just one
every
person.
time.
Just one person.
They're all doing it
I'm like,
anyway.
just quit looking
Like,
at the billboard. Just quit.
stop
It's
buying the lotto
it's hard
tickets.
to ignore. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm dripping, guys.
Pay your tithe if you win. I'm dripping. Okay, so that's the thing is like Brendan said, why do you randomly say no? And I said, it looks random to you because you're dumb. I said, you will be wise. You will be smart.
Right.
Did Randon ask you to teach a parenting class?
Look, it is what it is. He's got the dad he's
just
got.
joking.
I build him up all the time. But I said, seriously, we are, the Bible says we're fools. We're born fools. So right now, you got a lot of foolishness bound up in your heart. And so did I. And some of it God's still getting rid of on me. But bottom line is you just can't understand wisdom. You don't understand that it's not wise for you to have another candy. You don't understand. But
Wow.
you just need to trust your father because I think you know that I always want what's best for you, right? Well, yeah. And that's where I said, like, it's not random, but I'm also not going to explain it a lot. You just have to trust it. But the thing that's funny is, yes, that made him kind of upset. But then I saw it was okay. When I told him that, he was good with it.
It gave him peace about it.
And that's what he's not going to say to me.
Right.
But in his heart, he knows somebody that knows a lot more than I do and is smarter than I am right now and is watching out for me. And they're going to keep me out of...
Dry me off.
Dry me off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Read Psalm 119 and Psalm 19. Like, it was David's whole thing. Your word comfort. It gives me comfort. I appreciate your boundaries. So I think this ties in to what we were just talking about this way, that yesterday when we asked ourselves your set of questions, I was struck by the realization that number one, I wasn't 100% sure where I was.
Yeah.
Because I have been drowning a few times this month. And I kind of didn't have the memo on whether or not I was drowning. And in the end, what kind of struck me was that we had 100% response rate on dripping. All of us went with dripping. Good grief. That represents a lot of hell and high water that's been going on. And the fact that you might not be totally sure what state you're in, it kind of goes to, like, to me, I did talk about it on Sunday, and we were just talking about it a minute ago. Search me, O God, know my heart. See if there be any wicked way in me. He tests he knows the intent behind the thought. And it's like, because I don't know why I do a lot of things, and I also don't know why God does a lot of things, and I'm not my own psychiatrist, and because of all of that, a fair amount of the time I don't really know what status I'm in, and being forced to stop and answer that actually led to us having a prayer time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went and had a prayer time.
That level of self-reflection is so necessary. Like, I've had to kind of ask myself those questions, more often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is also one thing that I've noticed too, is that you can be in a dry state, and the level of trauma that you experience between drowning and dripping in previous states, where you still feel like that. And like, you're really not in danger anymore. You're actually dry. But you have seen somebody else maybe drowning, and your mind goes all the way back to that state.
True.
Right.
And I don't have any residue or water on me, but I feel the boat moving, and I feel the waves crashing over my head, and my mind's already there. So maybe you're not. Maybe some of us were not dripping. We're actually dry, but we don't know that.
PTSD, shell shock.
We don't know that yet.
Yeah.
And it's a constant path that we have to take, because even the post that I made about it basically took me 7 hours from the time you presented it to the time that I kind of came to a realization of I answered the question 100% honest, but then
In the
exactly
moment.
like you said, if you really start to kind of like deep dive and think, okay, kind of, when did I get to this phase?
Yeah.
And what did I just come out of? Did I just come out of dry? Did I just come out of drowning?
Yeah.
And making the differentiate what season, what level
Right.
you're in and stuff like that. And I said something in the post, because actually Lauren and I were talking about that specific thing, and she said, the thing about getting deeper into the water is that you lose control the more you get in. And you actually can't move as well as you think you can. Your mobility's impaired.
Right.
And then as soon as she said that, I also said, as the more you go in the wrong direction, the more you're also getting submerged into that situation. So it's like, God, give me the revelation, the understanding, the discernment to know I need to hear your voice tell me, turn around,
Yeah.
turn back. Because
That's good.
I'm over here in the dry. I'm over here, and this is where you need to turn around and come to me.
That's so good, bro.
Yeah.
Literally, I think you said it even Sunday about he didn't move, we moved.
I was thinking of that. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
literally, we're the ones that
If you
drift.
are feeling like these things are happening inside my life,
Yeah.
do a self-evaluation of
Yeah.
like where you
Yeah.
went left, and God wasn't the one that left you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been mulling over the verse you actually did a couple Sundays, Proverbs 16:2. All the ways of a man are pure in his own eyes. We think, I'm fine. I'm good. How are you? I'm good. I'm
Right.
good. I'm good. But the Lord weighs the spirits. He's constantly looking at us. No, you're drowning. And I'm going to have to let you realize that so that I can help you dry off. Like, until you can understand and comprehend that you
Yeah.
have thrown yourself on the deep end of the pool like a toddler out there, just walking off the edge before they realize, okay, I need something more. And the whole time God's weighing us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they okay? Are they going to make it? Are they going to tip off the edge, or are they going to pull themselves back in realization of where they're at, the danger line that they're walking on the side of that pool?
That's a terrifying verse.
Yeah. It is.
Now that I like really think about it,
Right.
all the ways seem right.
Yeah. We're constantly.
We are so self-deluded.
Yeah.
Like, we have that mentality of just like, yeah, I'm good.
It's so hard from a shepherding perspective, watching people, because they're gone so long
So
before
far
they
in
leave.
advance.
So long.
Yeah.
Bishop, used to have a habit of doing this thing where I would mention somebody's name. This is kind of behind the scenes, how kind of a peek behind the curtain. But I'd just mention someone's name conversationally, and he would wheel around and say, "He's gone," or "She's gone."
Wow.
And I didn't like it because it was like, well, that's not the whole like
Given.
power of positive speech kind of thing.
Right.
But it's like, as a shepherd, a lot of your
can
job
feel it.
is, and a lot of your job, because you're keeping an eye, your concern is for that sheep, yes, but also the flock. A lot of disease is communicable, and so he would say, they're gone. And it would be sometimes most of a year, but you could take it to the bank that they were gone.
Yeah.
And I hate it because it's so clear from that seat. And it's so upsetting because most people feel so self-assured. They are so justified in what they're doing. And you're just watching it, and it's like, I can't convince you you're wrong.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna be the inexorable millstone of bitter experience and the pulverization of life lived outside the fold that's gonna grind away until one day you come to yourself.
Yeah.
And that's terrible.
Yeah.
But it's so clear. You see it happen.
Yeah.
And it's the self-assurance in their eyes that's hard to take.
Yeah.
But now thus says the Lord, Isaiah 43, that created you, and O Jacob, and he that formed you, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, you shall not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. Why? For I am Yahweh thy God, the Holy One of Israel, thy Savior. I gave the nations for a ransom for you. Y'all, it's like we're in a place right now where I feel like it's crucial for us as a church body to begin to acknowledge not just to ourselves, certainly to ourselves. Everybody needs to learn
Yeah.
how to self-evaluate and acknowledge where they're at. But we need to be able to acknowledge it to each other and the Lord. Because how are we supposed to carry each other's burdens?
Literally, I was thinking of that right when you said that, because in regards to the post that I'd sent out, I had people
Link that post in the comments
Yeah.
or something.
I had
For
people
sure.
reach out to me that I know really well, and then people that I barely know, but the response was close to the same. Was like, just thank you for being transparent.
That's right.
That's what I
Because not
said.
enough people are transparent,
Yep.
especially for those of us that are in leadership positions. But
right.
honestly, just your brothers and sisters in the
Yeah.
Lord in general. When you know somebody is going through, or even has gone through and overcome
100%.
some of the stuff that you're, that's exactly what you're saying. Like, we won't make it further until we know we can link arms
That's
with
right.
people
Yeah.
that
Because
are
we
going.
can't trust each other like that.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
the real dirty secret is everybody knows that behind the scenes has to be messy.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So it's the fact that we won't acknowledge that tears down trust.
Yeah.
In the last day,
Yeah.
knowledge shall increase. That has happened.
Yeah.
So we can't play upon the ignorance of the masses who used to constantly think that the elite somehow lived in a world with different rules, and the priest and all them, they were immune to the that was the perception.
Yeah.
We can't appeal to that anymore. Everybody knows that everybody's just a human at the end of the day. And so as the church, when we won't acknowledge the mess that they know must be there, actually they'll never trust us enough to try Jesus the way we're asking them to. It's like we're asking you to be completely vulnerable and like die, come to the altar and die, and but we won't shoot you straight about how messy that is.
Yeah.
So I know you're gonna say, whatever, that it's time to go. I feel like the Lord wants us to institute this systemically across our church.
Yeah.
We're at the point where we have to become a disciple making beast. Like this needs to become a literal factory of disciples.
Yeah.
And that's in go read our mission statement, go read our mission, vision, values, and all that's all there. Point is, it's time. So we have to learn how to be 100% connected in active engagement with the kingdom and discipleship as members of the body. So right now, I want everybody in our church, begin with your family and any group of people you have any influence with whatsoever. Start every meeting, every engagement, let's just go to that.
How's that?
Dry, dripping, drowning. How are you?
How are you?
Now let's just try it.
And
let's
before
carry each
you
other's burdens.
log off right now, if you've been thinking through, where am I at on
There it is.
this?
Yeah.
Type it in the comments
Put
right
it in the
now. Tell
comments.
your church family how you're doing.
I
Really.
meant to say that.
Yeah.
And then watch it and pray for
And
people.
then watch it.
Yeah.
And if you're dry, for the
That's
love
good.
of God, go help somebody.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's,
find
that's
it.
the key,
Find
though. It's like if you're in that place,
Like I was just there.
Yeah.
Let me,
like
let me help.
let me toss
have
out this
resources.
lifeboat.
Yeah.
I see our tech team, the production side is freaking out because the memory card's about to die.
Amen.
We love you.
We love
Jump in the
y'all. Have a
class.
good night.
Jump into class.
All
Bye.
right.